Okay, you guys. So, this is once again another attempt to get the message out that I was trying to post earlier. I have no idea what happened with that, but somehow it disappeared. So, here we are again. In hindsight, maybe it is better that I do it in this condition because, man, I was about to explode, you guys. I felt like a volcano that was just about to erupt. I felt like a tornado that was just revving up. I felt like a tsunami that was just building up. I felt the earthquake just from the energy that I've been feeling, you guys. Personally, I've had enough. And that's an understatement. I see so many people in everyday life, people that call themselves family, people that have called themselves friends, people that call themselves romantic suitors or whatever they want to call themselves that day. These people are really just they're a giant lie. Their life is a lie. What they say is a lie. And who knows what else they're lying about. But that's not even what's driving me over the edge, right? I'm at the point to where now I'm getting sick and tired of people trying to play as though they're holier than thou. They try to play as though they have all these answers, yet their life is all fucked up and they're not doing anything to correct it. They feel the need to be able to be selective in who is deserving of, help or deserving of this or deserving of that. I just see so much more heartlessness, ruthlessness, selfishness, thoughtlessness, carelessness. And for once in my life, you guys, I've finally reached the stage of anger, which is right before the final stage of the grieving process, which is acceptance. So some of you guys may be at this stage as well. Some of you guys may be picking up on other people's anger. Maybe it's a combination of the two. But for once in my life, I'm no longer sad and internalizing the abuse, the gaslighting, the sneak disses, the covert put downs, the projections of insecurities. I mean, I'm getting to the point to where I'm ready to just blow it all up. And no, I don't mean literally, before somebody wants to try and twist that, but figuratively, spiritually. I'm so tired of the people that fill the majority of this society, of the world rather, not even just this society alone. There are so many people that really think that saying I love you, I love you, I love you a million times and, saying this and saying that and talking themselves up and, trying to act like they really care about you. They can say all these things all they want, but as we've always said, actions speak a lot louder than words. And I'm getting really tired of people taking advantage of me, period. And I accept the fact that it takes two for every, scenario where you're dealing with relationships or associations or whatever. And I've accepted my responsibility or my part, so to speak, in that. But I'm at the point to where I no longer feel undeserving, unworthy. I felt like that for most of my life, and even when I was younger, dealt with bullying and all that, and always suppressed it, and just always felt like something was wrong with me. But now that I'm older, now that I've reached this point, now that I'm angry, I'm not going to stay silent anymore. Now, there's some of you that have, made suggestions of, me not paying attention to the trolls, or not necessarily the trolls, but you guys have told, a few of you guys rather, have told me, don't pay attention or ignore the ignorance. Okay. I agree to an extent. And I know that, you guys mean well. There was no ill intent. But the way that I see it, yeah, you can ignore the ignorance if it gets to be to where you're repeating yourself. But the way I see it now, if you continue to ignore the problem, it only just continues to snowball. And nothing changes. Nothing gets done. I refuse to turn the other cheek in the face of somebody that is blatantly disrespecting me, crossing my boundaries, endangering me, abusing, using, and the list goes on. I refuse. Now, granted, I'm not saying go out there and, confront somebody that's obviously violent or whatever. I mean, of course, I'm not implying that. I hope nobody would think that. What I'm saying is, you got to do something. Because whether you realize it or not, your silence, your passivity, or your passiveness towards abuse or whatever, harm, whatever, your silence is subconscious compliance. Your silence is showing these users and abusers that you are putting yourself last, you are putting them first. And that further reaffirms their delusions of grandeur where they feel as though they are the superior being. And the fact that you're staying silent or not, standing up for yourself, standing up for what's right, and realizing that you're a damn diamond, you're God's creation, you're God's children. But I'll be damned if I will stand idly by while somebody is intending to harm me, mistreat me, and the list goes on. I refuse. There are a lot of leaders that I could list off right now. MLK, JFK, the list goes on, right? Those are the first two that comes to mind where they spoke out about the truth. There are many others I know. I'm aware. Guys, you can drop it in the comments, your list or whatever, but you get my point. Like, there are a lot of people that have stood up for what's right. They're standing up for unity. They're standing up for God. They're standing up for themselves. They're standing up for their God-given rights. If you continue to do nothing, it will only breed more nothingness. If you continue to stay silent, you are just continuing to neglect yourself, ignore yourself, deny yourself, degrade and demean yourself, and destroy yourself eventually. It's time, you guys. They know it's coming, and by it, I mean God's vengeance. And they're doing everything that they can to take as many down with them. Staying silent in the face of that? Oh, honey. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Volatile situation. Some of us have been programmed or conditioned to think less of ourselves or settle for less. Maybe we've dealt with childhood abuse or whatever traumas we have dealt with in the past. That sense of unworthiness, feeling undeserving of love, will lead you to choose people and surround yourself with people that are wolves in sheep's clothing. Just simple and plain. They're wolves in sheep's clothing. And the red flags have been there. How many of you guys can relate to this part, right? Lately, I've been feeling like I just don't like the majority of the people that I've known for years, as well as some of the new people that I've come across. And one thing I notice about that feeling is that when you feel lonely, surrounded by people that's supposed to, be your family, supposed to be your support system, supposed to be your friend, or whatever the case may be, what do you do with that? Stop settling for less, you guys. Regardless of what mistakes you've made, regardless of what state you're in currently, I mean, as long as you're trying to improve yourself each and every day, that's what counts. As long as you're trying to spread love, light, awareness, helping others heal, or at least, find the light in some way in their lives, you're on the right path. If you're living for God, doing as God does, that's the way. God is love, and love has always been the answer. But the thing about love is, it can feel real, but if you don't love yourself, you have to admit to yourself that it was never real. Because you wouldn't put yourself last the way that you have. You wouldn't settle for low-hanging fruit because it's what you're used to. You wouldn't put up with disrespect, abuse, and so on and so forth. You wouldn't put up with somebody treating you like garbage in the name of quote unquote love. That's not love, you guys. Because if it was really love, you would love yourself enough to say, oh no, honey, we're not doing that today, not any day, honey. Okay? I do not deserve this filth. You can't stay silent, and you can't keep holding on to people that are showing you time and time again that they're just parasitic leeches, predators. It's time to speak up, you guys. Use your voice. A lot of us have been having a hard time saying no. And I've been learning that more and more about myself, especially recently. It's like I always feel like I need to come up with some sort of, fakakta plan or whatever situation that may or may not really be happening in order to kind of worm my way out of just simply saying no. Trying to add explanations to that no. So it sounds, I guess nice or it sounds somewhat hmm, believable, I guess. Let's just keep it simple, right? But the thing is I'm lying, and regardless of whether it's a white lie or not, the fact of the matter is I don't need to do all that. But because I have such a hard time saying no, or at least before, I mean, it's like I got to come up with all these first of all, guys, we don't owe anybody anything. Okay? We don't need to be told how to think, what to believe, what to wear, what to eat, what to watch, what to feel, what you should and shouldn't do, where you shouldn't and shouldn't go, and who you should and shouldn't do it with, and all these other things. We don't. First of all, that's God's job, and a lot of us have been listening to people, well, hypocritical and overly self-important people that just want to cut you down. Or they're projecting their own shit on you. And you start to believe it. You start to think, maybe there really is something wrong with me. But the problem with that is, we've been listening to other people more than we've been listening to ourselves. We've been doing everything for everybody, or at least attempting to, and getting nothing in return. I mean, do you really feel like you deserve that? I know I finally realized I don't. Now, I don't think I'm all that and everything. But one thing I finally realized for once in my life, I'm a keeper, baby. I'm a one of a kind. One in a million. No, one in a trillion, honey. And if somebody can't appreciate me for what I bring to the table, because I know what I bring to the table, and I know they'll never find anybody that will put as much as I have on the table. But knowing how much I bring to the table, knowing my heart, the way I love, what I've given, and just given and given, and people just keep asking more and more and more and more and more. I mean, it's never enough, right? It's like you start feeling like you're being taken advantage of, or they're taking you for granted. But eventually, you guys, you've got to see that the only way to attract the love that you want is to see the love that you have now. Cultivate self-love, self-care. Listen to the self. Meditation. Listen to God. Listen to people that are able to be healthy mentors. Things like that. For some, therapy works. For some, it doesn't. But you find what works for you. But you can't continue to surround yourself with these people that are just trying to destroy you. You can't say that you're staying out of love. You really love them. You're loyal. You don't want to give up. Well, if you were really loyal, you'd also be loyal to yourself. If you were really loving, you would love yourself more than you are. You would not settle for that shit. You wouldn't ignore your intuition. You wouldn't look past the red flags. And I think that's where my anger comes from the most. It's like I've already given enough, way more than I should have, without them needing to ask. Now they're coming to me asking like I'm just some sort of, Walmart or ATM or whatever the hell. And now when I'm saying no, back to that word, right? Finally making myself say it. No, now everybody has a problem. Now I'm the bad guy. When I finally set some boundaries, when I finally start speaking how I really feel, it's a problem. And it's gonna be for the majority of us. Because we've set the tone unintentionally. Some of us don't realize we're enabling bad behavior by continuing to stick around. Chance after chance after chance after chance. I mean, it's like, give yourself a chance. Because you've given way more chances to everybody else but yourself. And addressing the fact that I feel like the people I've had around me, old and new, I can't stand them. And that's not to say all of them. So, but the majority, honey, oh yeah. No, I don't even like them. I don't. And for the first time, I chose myself instead of trying to quell the feeling of loneliness, so to speak. But I'd rather be alone. Matter of fact, I enjoy it and prefer it over having to deal with the constant drama, the constant complaining, the constant negativity, the constant nitpicking and bullshit that comes with toxic people, relationships, places, things, and so on and so forth. That comes from ignoring the self. That comes from denying the self, neglecting the self. You've got to love yourself more and love yourself enough to walk away. And that's what I did today. Finally. And I think that's what's good about the anger aspect of, part of the grieving process. It's a good part of it because now it's like, you know what? I've been asleep for a long time, but now I see my beauty, my worth, my value. And I'll never settle for less again. It's time to speak up and stand up, you guys. No more staying silent or just to keep the quote unquote peace, because that doesn't keep the peace because your inner peace is destroyed when you have to hold back or they don't allow you to express your feelings without an argument or whatever the case may be that some of you guys may be dealing with. Fake people trying to use and abuse, when you need somebody just to lean on or to talk to, it's like everybody's gone. But then everybody's calling you all the time because you're always there, which isn't necessarily a bad thing when it comes to the kind of heart you have. But that's where the enabling comes in, you guys. You're you're unintentionally rewarding and enabling the bad behavior by continuing to put up with it, by continuing to stay silent and do nothing. And it's time to stop. Stop letting people take advantage of you, take you for granted, just to quell loneliness. Here's the thing, you can't lose what you never had. And if anybody would do anything to intentionally hurt you, abuse you, and all of that, that's not love. If they can't even have empathy or sympathy for your situation, for your life, if they never even ask you how you're doing, if they don't ask you about your goals and dreams, if they don't try and, get to know you as a person and they're always talking about them and their problems and all of that, like you're Dr. Phil or something, Dr. whatever the hell, playing therapist with people that you didn't ask to play therapist with. But then let you need somebody and they're not there. You think that's fair to yourself? So why are you staying? Some of you may have already left, but this part right here is the people that are still staying. Yes, we know that you don't want to be alone. That's a part of it. Okay? And that's a normal fear to have. But it gets toxic when you start keeping just trash people around you just for the sake of not having to deal with yourself or not having to get acquainted with yourself and to face yourself. It's going to be hard to swallow that pill, you guys, to realize that you haven't been loving yourself. And it's not a justification for the people that hurt you. Not at all. It's not a justification for those that abused you. This is about taking your power back. The only way that somebody can have control and power over you is if you continue to give it to them. If somebody that you've expressed your feelings to about what, hey, this is how this makes me feel, I would appreciate it if we could have more communication, or can we do this a different way or whatever. If they can't even attempt to understand your point of view, no matter if you have differing perceptions or not, if they don't even attempt to try to understand you and they immediately get on the defensive, or they're, I don't want to talk about this, or stonewalling or whatever. I mean, how is that worth fighting for? How is that worth holding on to? You're realizing it's hurting a lot more to hold on than it is to let go. But familiarity and fear of the unknown are the catalyst to these bad choices. Let's just put it that way. Bad choices in people, places, and things. Respect yourself, love yourself, care for yourself. Put yourself first. Now, of course, I don't mean to be selfish and all of that, but you know what I'm saying. Everybody doesn't always need, saving. Matter of fact, nobody can save anybody. The only thing that we can do as individuals is to save ourselves. Now, granted, we can plant seeds. We can be there as moral support, or, if somebody's asking for help, of course, there's no problem with helping them. But if you're going out of your way to try and save people that are obviously just beyond help, and they're certainly not even attempting to help themselves, yeah, it's time to let it go. No amount of love, no amount of time, no amount of effort will change that. It starts with you. Figure out what you want. Figure out what you really deserve, or what you think you deserve. Figure out who needs to be purged from your life. Free yourself. But please stop staying silent in the face of evil. Just you can't do it. You can't. But I'm going to say this one thing before I wrap this up. They know it's coming. And it is God's vengeance. Playtime is over. Running and hiding is over. Being in denial is over. Being complacent in mediocrity and misery it's gone. Choose yourself. Some of you guys may be trying to figure out who you should date. Some of you guys may be feeling like you don't even like the people that you're around. I mean, I just said this. Like, the majority of people, I genuinely don't like them. I genuinely don't. And I knew it from the beginning. But I still was like, you know what? I don't want to be mean. I don't want to come off as a B or whatever. But again, that's kind of like focusing on their feelings before yours. You see? Now, this isn't to blame any of you guys that share that type of thinking, but the only way to solve the problem is to acknowledge it, to face it, confront it. And a lot of us try to help other people because we're desperately trying to run from having to face ourselves. But all of this division has got to stop. It's like people have so many opinions, but they forget that opinions are not fact. They forget that what may work for them might not work for somebody else. What they forget is we all have free will. No man, woman, or child has any place to tell another person anything about what they should do or who they should be or whatever. And I notice a lot of people try and do that with me lately as well. I don't understand that because that's not happening. But you call them out on it? Oh, yeah, they'll get mad. But I don't care. You can get mad. But you're not going to tell me anything because I'm going to do what the fuck I want to do. But one thing I don't like, especially, and there are a few spiritual advisors on here, I'm not going to say any names, but you can't be selective in who deserves help and who doesn't. Let's take addicts, for example. This particular content creator was talking about addicts. First of all, we all have addictions, some sort of addiction. Now, granted, when it comes to substance abuse, that's a whole different demon and beast within itself. But it is, in and of itself, an addiction. Plain and simple. It doesn't matter if it's a substance, different things like that. Look, too much of anything is a bad thing, or can be a bad thing. Balance. But focus on doing things, learning things, consuming things that are building you up and that are giving you life. We can't pretend anymore, you guys. We all know this is the end. A lot of us may be losing a lot of friends, maybe they just dropped off, or maybe you just stopped responding, or whatever the case is. Your eyes are open now. Some people are like deliberately trying to keep their eyes shut. But if that's what they want to do, that's fine. But don't worry yourself over someone else that doesn't even care about themselves. You have to love yourself. Somebody cheating on you all the time, verbally abusing you and all this stuff. Why stay? Now, granted, we've talked about trauma bonding and the effects that it has on the brain and how that leads to, sympathizing with your abuser, such as Stockholm Syndrome and all of that. But the thing is, regardless of that factor, in my humble opinion, I feel as though once you have the realization that there's an issue with your perception of worthiness, there's room for change. There's room for healing. There's so much coming through right now, you guys. And I'm not going to lie to you, I'm exhausted. I'm absolutely exhausted. You guys have been carrying not only the weight of the world on your shoulders and your own baggage, but now y'all have tried to take on other people's baggage on top of all of that. And then you're looking at the people that you're holding, bags for, and they're not even trying to attempt to help you. and you just keep trucking along. You don't deserve that. You deserve so much more than that. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to be respected. You deserve to have your voice, your voice heard, period. There's nothing wrong with standing up for what's right. There's nothing wrong. I mean, think of Edward Snowden. I absolutely love that man. I mean, not only is his brain just freaking, I love it, right? Smart, intelligent. But at the end of the day, he decided to lose it all and risk his life just to stand up for what's right. He didn't stay silent or ignore the ignorance or whatever. He stood up. That's what's required of us now. Even if it means standing alone and standing for yourself, you still need to stand up and speak up. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's been a huge issue with toxic positivity on this platform when it comes to the spiritual community. And then there's the aspect where, they become, even more egotistical or a megalomaniac where they feel like they are better or more deserving or whatever than other people. Again, going back to that whole addiction aspect where, it's like people look down on addicts that are, abusing substances, not realizing that big pharma, I mean, everybody's on drugs, basically. Does it make it right? No. But it doesn't make them less of a person because they are in that place right now. It doesn't make them less deserving of love, of light, of guidance, of help to an extent. If they're asking for help, of course. But if you're willingly giving it and you see that they're obviously not putting the work in, that's where you need to stop. But when it comes to being an addict, when it comes to being whatever you want to label yourself, whatever you may have done wrong in your past, I mean, we're human, we're fallible, and through our imperfections, there are perfections, but people seem to nitpick at what they perceive as wrong or whatever. But technically, on the cool, there really is no right or wrong when it comes to how a person lives their life. And what I mean by that is they have free will to choose whatever they want to choose. We have no say-so. It's not our place, and it's certainly not anyone else's place to tell us anything either. And I see a lot of people in the spiritual community, especially on here. Saw a video today where somebody was trying to say, oh, you're not going to be a part of my community if you're an addict or if you're doing this or if you're whatever. I understand to an extent that, yes, you can't save people that are not wanting to be saved. Understandable. But when it comes to that type of mindset towards addicts, as if we're all, they're holier than thou, they have no issues, I just find that to be really, I find it to be disgusting, to be honest with you. Who are you to decide what someone does and does not deserve? You know what I mean? Like, either you're here to live God's purpose, or you're manipulative, deceptive. You can't stand for unity, love, light, all that, but then live in darkness and treat others that are different from you like shit. That has got to stop. So I feel like I've rambled on enough, you guys. Bottom line, love yourself. Love is always the answer. Ask God for guidance if need be, honey. But it's time to embrace solitude. God needs us to embrace solitude. There's a reason why. All of the old, outdated, burdensome energy and relationships we've been holding on to, that is falling away, whether we want it to or not. So either go with the current or fight against it, but either way, you will go where God wants you to go. And if you're not doing what's best for you as well as what's best for your loved ones, that will only bring more destruction, chaos, pain, loss, and emptiness. So fill up your cup, even if you got to do it alone, baby. I'm feeling somebody in the chat, man. And I don't even know if anybody is in the chat right this second. I can't even see it. But I'm feeling someone's energy currently where they're exhausted. They're disappointed. They're done. And it may be tough to deal with that alone. But remember, you're never alone with God on your side. You're never alone, especially if you join Lotus Squad, girl. There's love in your life. Focus on that and only that right now. Focus on your passions. Focus on what you want to do with yourself, your vision, your life. Stop treating yourself and your vision and your goals like a side piece. This is bigger than us now. And we've got to stop falling in the trap of division, you guys. You can't judge anybody. He who is without sin cast the first stone. And I know ain't nobody going to be casting nothing. So do the right thing. But don't be hypocritical. Be careful who you listen to, you guys. Because I notice a lot of people on here, they act like they want to help people, but they have very black and white thinking, or they're rigid in their views, or then they end up switching up and they say or do something that is proving to be completely opposite of what they said they wanted to do or believed or whatever. Pay attention to that. You have to practice what you preach. And if you're not, you're a fraud. And I see a lot of people like that in the church. Not going to say no names. Even in the spiritual community, not just the church. In general, in life. I know it's hard dealing with this alone, you guys. But there's love in your life. Ask God for guidance. I'm going to say that twice. Get to know yourself. Love yourself. See the beauty in you before you try and allow someone else to attempt to see the beauty in you. You understand? Stop letting people run all over you. You ain't a doormat. And stop staying silent. Period. Now, on that note, you guys, I hope that this has served you well. Personally, I feel like I'm all over the place because there's so many emotions that I've been feeling today. I mean, y'all drop it in the comments below. I mean, is it just me or is everybody acting weirder than usual? It's like a switch just flipped. So, it's been a very strange day. Very strange energies. And it could be that all of us are picking up on all of this. But it's time to ascend. It's time to release, to purge all that no longer serves you. So you can make yourself light enough to be able to ascend. See, we've already shifted from 3D to 4D and now 5D. But keep in mind, there's levels to this shit. 6D, 7D, 8D, 9D, 10D, 11D, 12D, you know? Don't stop until you get to the top. But let go of the dead horse, let go of the baggage, and let go of the pain. Let go of the fact that you're human and you make mistakes. Don't be so hard on yourself. Yes, you're going to fall a few times. That's life. But it doesn't make you stupid. It doesn't make you a bad person for that. It just means you're human. And it means that you need to get back up, dust yourself off, and keep it moving. Because you're still standing today, baby. So that shows you right there. You can overcome anything that gets to you. Now, stay strong, you guys. I feel like somebody's heart is hurting, dude. Like it's like it feels like it's dropping right now. And to whoever that is feeling that way, I want to say this. I know it's hard, but you got this. You got this. It's scary, it's painful, but that's the fertilizer necessary for growth, expansion. Just know you will get through this. And if you need anybody, keep in mind, if you're part of the Lotus Squad, I don't call us the Lotus Squad for no reason. This is a community. I want everyone to feel welcome and open enough to be able to have a place where they can vent or meet other, Lotus Squad members, and y'all can speak amongst yourselves. I mean, it's there. The support is there. But you got to stop focusing on the people that are taking advantage of you. Let all that go, and you focus on the people that give it to you. So that is all I have to say tonight, you guys. Until next time, stay blessed, not stressed. Peace and love.